Hello. Hello.
Hello, hello,
Hello.
everyone.
I would right off the bat, I want everybody listening to let me know if the volume's okay, if you can hear us all right, because I have, as you might be able to tell from if you've been here before and from the different my my camera angle is different. I've reorganized my office in the past month, and this is the first time we've streamed since I've done that. I want to make sure everything's plugged in correctly, so and all the settings are correct. So let me know if the volumes are okay. All right, with that business out
You're
of the
good on
way,
my end. I know that doesn't always translate to YouTube, but you're good for me.
good. I want you to have a
Logan
comfortable
says you
listening.
sound okay.
Excellent. How does Mora sound, Logan?
He said the volume sounds okay, so I assume that includes me.
Well, I was doing all the talking right then, so
Blah 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 blah
I
blah
do a
blah
lot of
blah.
talking. That's right.
Hi everybody. It's so different to have you in chat after having met you in person.
Isn't
We got
it?
Logan and Lydia and Chuck.
And like you can put faces to names now
Yeah.
for
It's
a lot of the
good.
people that are here. Yeah. Um. Yeah. I had something I was gonna start talking about, but while I'm thinking about that, let's just say hey to everybody. So you said Logan and Lydia and Chuck and Amy's
Chuck.
sitting on the
Yes,
side of
Amy as
Chuck
well.
as
Hi,
well.
Amy. I have something I wanted to ask you for our pre-show
Oh yeah, well then let's do that.
discussion. Um, because a friend of mine recently told me about this thing keeps happening to her. She will
Oh.
make a friend, and then a few weeks, a few months into their friendship, this person will reveal that they want her to join their MLM. And I wanted to know if that had ever happened to you.
Um so
Have you ever
no,
been targeted or like thought you had a new friend and turned out they just wanted to
they
sell
were
you
just luring
hair
me
care
in.
products? Yeah.
Whoa. Whoops, sorry. Did you hear that?
I heard something.
Yeah, I accidentally started playing a daily science brief episode on my computer. Um
Oh, oh. A
no,
little guerrilla marketing.
yeah. Oh, I accidentally played this amazing
Whoops. Oh my
podcast
gosh,
I
that's
just
so
started
good.
listening to called
It's
Daily
so great.
Science Brief. Um No, that's never happened to me before. I have had people that I've known try to invite me to those
Mm,
types of
mm,
things,
mhm.
but it never oh hi, I'm this new person that has just met you, and then later turns out that that's what. No, that's never happened to me before. Has that happened to you?
It happened to me once, but it's happened to this friend of mine 4 times.
Oh my gosh.
She's just a very, like, open, kind person, and the sort of
Oh
person that if they were in an MLM would make money at it. Like, if
yeah,
she was into that, she would be the type who could actually make money. So they, like, see it, but she doesn't wanna do it. So they
right.
see her and they're like, "Ah, you. Ooh," so MLM is a multi-level marketing scheme, Lydia. So things like, I
They
think
used to
Amway
be
is, like, the
called.
really famous
It's the
one, Mary
modern
Kay.
term for a pyramid scheme. Yeah.
Yeah, pyramid schemes. Yeah, so they whatever product it is, they'll try to meet other people to sell them to because the idea is basically you sell until you run out of humans to sell to, and that's the only
On
way to
the
make
earth.
money
Yeah.
on the earth. Yeah, like it's mathematically an impossible sales model. But um yeah, no, I like randomly met this lady at the library and we just started chatting and she's like, "Hey, do you want to like get coffee sometime?" I was like, "Sure, you seem like a cool lady." So we exchanged numbers and then we met for coffee twice. And the second time, she never actually made the pitch to me. I think
Oh.
she chickened out. But the second time, I was just talking about a friend who had a problem or an issue, and she was like, "Oh, that really sucks." She's like, "Has she ever tried supplements?" I was like, "What?" I'm like, "Maybe." She's like, "You should suggest that to her." I was like,
Oh.
"Okay, I probably won't." And then I never texted her
I
again.
probably won't.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh boy.
Yes. I also have had friends who turned, and I joined 1 or 2 back in the day.
Yeah, it was all the rage.
Yeah, but it was not I was never, like, super into it. I was just kinda like I'm like, I don't know that I'm ever gonna make any money at this.
I
It
did
sounds nice,
uh,
but I
I
like these vitamins, so I'll take them."
I almost did one because I was answering like I was looking for a job and I was interviewing for like answering
Hmm.
some ad that was in
Right.
the paper or whatever it was. I don't know if it was a newspaper or not. Um
Mhm.
but it was like they were set up in just all my this was before I became sort of a skeptic, and so
Mhm,
I
mhm.
think my critical thinking skills were there, but not quite as sharpened yet, you know.
Right.
And so, but a lot of the red flags and alarm bells were going off. Like I answered it, and I was like, oh, first of all, and I didn't pick up on this one at all, but at first, but it was like the job was for like it was like a sales manager,
Oh, no.
right? And I was like, I'm I'm a pretty I could be a I could I'm management material. I could do sales, you know. And so I went to the place, and it was like in an office in one of these tall buildings in downtown Columbia. So I was like, that sounds impressive. So I went up there, and this is when the alarm bells started going off. I went up to the floor, opened up, went into the room, and it was like this big long hallway into this big open office, but and there was nothing in there.
Uh,
Like there was like one desk in this big room, and there was no
oh my
anything else. There
gosh.
was and it was
Were you, like,
one
afraid
person.
you were gonna get killed?
Not
That's so
really. Not
terrifying.
really. I probably should have been, but I maybe hadn't seen anything. I hadn't seen I hadn't seen what's that
I'd be like,
movie?
"Well, that was a good life. I did
Yeah.
it. I made it to this point, and now I'm gonna die."
But it was definitely like selling knives or something like that, and I was like,
Yeah,
mm.
I think I got an interview for a knife selling thing at one point too, and I
Yeah.
was like, "This does not I'm just not salesy." I was like, "I don't think I would be very good at this, so I shall
Yeah.
turn you down. I do not want to go door to door selling knives."
Yeah, well, even when I finished, I didn't quite know what it was until a friend kind of clued me
Mm,
in. I didn't
mhm.
accept, but the reason that I didn't accept is because they said I had to buy the knives.
Yes,
And I was
yeah.
like,
Was it Cutco? That was
I think it was, yeah. And it was and I was like, well, sorry, I need this job because I don't have enough money to buy your
Yeah.
knives.
Hello. And they were, like, super expensive. I was like
Yeah.
I can't remember at the time, it was, like, $500 or something. I'm like, "I do not
Yeah.
have but I have, like, $3 in total to my name. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna buy these knives."
exactly. So that, and then I told a friend, and they were like, "Oh yeah. Yeah, I did that too like 6 months ago. It's a scam." And I was like, "Oh, okay, good.
Oh,
I'm glad I
boo.
dodged that one."
Yeah. Whew.
Yeah.
Gotta watch out. But yeah, no, 4 times she's had to I think too, it can be a little heartbreaking if you especially if it's an established friendship that goes back beyond, their
Yeah.
sales tactic, like a family member or whatever. I definitely had a couple people who were like who got me who were trying to get me in the room for like a sales pitch of some kind. I'm like, I can't. One of them was basically, I think it was pretty much a Ponzi scheme because you basically were like buying marketing for big companies.
Hmm?
And I'm like, but what is this? You give $600 to this thing and then what happens? It was yeah, it was crazy.
That's really funny. Yeah. Now it's all online, right? And it's kind of back
Mm,
to more like I feel like for a while it went from Tupperware party style things, which Tupperware
mhm.
parties that was not an MLM. Tupperware was not, but that was the style that pyramid schemes used, right? Was that direct
Yeah, yeah.
sales style. But they went away from that for a while and then tried to sound more legit, like what I just described. But I
Mhm.
think they're back now to just having, you know, direct sales parties and stuff. You know.
Yeah, and I feel like it I feel like that could be a legit model where you have these parties and sell
Well,
stuff.
like I said, it was
But the
with
yeah,
Tupperware.
yeah. But yeah, there's a piece of it that's really predatory. I listened to a great podcast series, The Dream.
Oh,
Good one. Good one to listen to if you want to learn a little more. She does an investigative journalism piece on MLMs generally.
yeah.
So, highly recommend if you're morbidly curious like I was. What is happening here?
What? Yeah. The so anybody who's new to the stream or relatively new, maybe you haven't been, coming to our live shows for a little while, for as long as some of the other ones. This begins the season where on the live streams you will watch me slowly drench in sweat over the course of the night because it's now late spring and becoming summer here in South Carolina. So
It's warm. It's warm.
Mora is quite familiar with my handkerchief antics because she has to watch me do it every week. Yeah. So
Well, don't get mad, but I had to turn on the heat this week.
I'm trying really hard not to get mad.
It's cold here.
I'm
It's really
trying,
cold.
is what it is. I'll be coming up
Right
to
now, my
Canada before too long.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Ontario. That's the right one, right?
Toronto,
Yeah.
Ontario.
We're
You're
gonna
going to Toronto?
we will end up in Toronto. That's how you say it, right? Toronto.
Toronto. Yeah.
We will end up there. We're gonna start in Sault Ste. Marie, and
An unusual place to start a Canadian vacation, I will point out.
yeah. Well, that's where our mutual friend Palmer
Yes, our buddy
is.
Palmer.
So
That's so awesome. I'm so excited you're going to visit him. Um, and then trekking to Toronto.
yeah. The question right now is, do we make just the just an 8-hour drive on the boring roads? Like, there's not a lot to
Of the
see.
Canadian Shield. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just trees and rocks, really.
Yeah, or do we go over? There's apparently a ferry we can take, which will add like a good 2.5 hours to our trip. But it's a contender because even though it would get us to where we're going later, it would break up our drive and be more scenic apparently. So
Which lake would you ferry on?
what I've got it in a text. It's a apparently a known. It's a ferry that's known. It's got a name. Hold on, let me see. You might. I don't know if you will have heard of it. Maybe not if you're not from the area, but
No,
uh,
probably not.
it's what was it? It's the I can't pronounce this. Chai Chiman ferry. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm gonna look it up.
I'm about to also look it up. But
Sault Ste. Marie to Toronto ferry.
it goes.
Chichiman?
Yeah, maybe that's how you. Yeah,
That's a guess. That's a guess.
and it goes over. It would be over the Great Lake of. Man, Google Maps load. That's Georgian Bay. Lake Huron.
Lake Huron. Cool.
I mean, of course that would be
Okay,
what it
yeah,
would
I
be, right?
see.
It would have to be. There's
I
no
see
other
how it is.
lake.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
the lake.
that's it. That's the lake.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you would drive through Sudbury, Ontario. They have a great science center.
Ooh, maybe that could break up our trip.
Yeah. Yeah. If you leave early, go to the science center. Truly, truly top notch because there's none in Toronto anymore. Sad, sad violin music.
Oh.
Um, yeah, shut down temporarily, but it is shut down. Um, and yeah, they so that's the one Ontario Science Center experience you'd be able to have.
Well, I'm gonna have to bring that up because if we're gonna break up our
Mm-hmm.
trip,
Mm-hmm.
I would much rather spend a couple hours in a science center than on a boat.
They also have Snow Lab there in Sudbury. The
Snow lab.
Snow Lab. I'm pretty sure this was called. It's the underground one that detects neutrinos.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Who knew that Sudbury had cool things?
It's true. My husband grew up there.
I know. Well, who knew it still had cool things is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
Since
those are
your husband left.
kind of the only cool things. There's also a failing nickel mine. But that's about it.
Isn't
Sault Ste.
that
Marie, I don't know much about it.
isn't that near where the people who made that show that everybody likes come from?
Yeah. Yeah. It was filmed in Sudbury, a bunch of it. Come on.
What's that show called?
Ah,
Letterkenny.
Letterkenny.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scott loves that show because he's like, I know that place. I know that place. And it just reminds him of Sudbury. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is so Ontario.
Yeah, I think so yeah, it's a bunch of it's filmed there, but the creators grew up in Sudbury as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yup. So good. So good.
more
Well,
reasons.
you'll have to watch a little bit of Letterkenny before you go.
Yeah, more reasons for us to go that way.
Indeed. Indeed.
I'll take a picture at the "Welcome to Sudbury" sign and send it to.
Take a picture at the giant nickel. That's where you want to get
There's
your photo.
the giant nickel, like
The giant nickel, yeah.
when you say a nickel is a U.S. Coin.
Yes, same here. We also have
Oh,
nickels.
you have a nickel as well?
Yep, they have beavers on them, and there's a big giant one in Sudbury.
A Canadian nickel, a beaver nickel.
Canadian nickel. Yep.
That's
Because
cool.
that's how much a beaver pelt used to. It's like the cost of a beaver pelt, which was like the source of, like the basis of our economy for a very long time. So
How much do you think a beaver pelt costs now?
$50. That'd
Inflation.
be my guess. Inflation. Yeah. I'm gonna 50 to 150 depends on the quality of the beaver.
Yeah, are they
Pelt.
are they 5/100ths of a Canadian dollar? Is that what a nickel is?
Yes, 5 cents.
Okay. I didn't know if you called them cents or not. Or
We
if
also
you,
have dimes and quarters.
or if you called them some version of something that rhymes with uni.
No. Dollaroony. $1
But yeah, anyway,
That's
I'm
true.
excited
That's
to
true.
make our way up to Canada. I told our pair of gracious hosts that we're not leaving the country until I get some good poutine. And
probably will find good poutine in
I know that
Toronto.
it's not. I know Ontario is not like the home of where you would find the best of it. That's in Quebec, right?
Yeah, Quebec's the place, and you're sticking with Ontario. You're not going.
Yeah,
to
we're
Quebec.
not going to.
That'd be another few-hour drive. That'd be a long
No,
trek.
We're saying it's already a pretty long trip visiting two groups of people, and trying to do it within a week, So, but we're excited. We've never been to Canada except for the 2.5 hours in Victoria on that legally mandated stop that apparently cruise ships have to make when they go up to Alaska from the U.S. Did you know that they're required to do that? I don't know. Somebody told me who works at like one of the port authorities up in someone I know who either knows someone. So who knows how true this is? But from what I was told, whenever the cruise ships have to go up to Alaska, there's some weird law or rule or agreement that they've made with like a Canada or something. There's some reason they have to make a stop in a foreign country before they return. And so
like nautical law. I don't know if that's a term, but like the laws that govern how ships. Yeah. Pirate law are it's a big thing. Like there's very specific things that they have to do, and sometimes they're really weird. So yeah.
So yeah,
Chuck asks if a loon costs 20 beaver pelts. That's very funny. It's very funny. And for $2 you can get a polar bear. That's what's on our toonie.
No.
And for $5 you get Wilfrid Laurier. That one's for the Canadians. Because he's on the 5.
Oh, my favorite type of humor is Canadian currency humor.
I I really appreciated when we were in Vegas and I sang a song during karaoke
Hmm.
that is it's a very Western Canadian song. And everyone joined in and took part, and I was really happy about that. I think I've already talked about it, but I keep thinking about that moment and how everybody just like leapt right in even though they didn't know it, and it just made me feel like I was sharing a little bit of home with everybody, and I loved it.
It was. That's how I felt. I felt like you were sharing a little bit of home with us,
Yeah.
and it was wonderful. First of all, it was a great crowd of people that we were with. They're all going to be
Mhm.
very warm and willing to jump in. Second, the song was a great song and easy to sing along with.
Oh, it's such a good song. It's so
Yeah,
funny.
it it's a good song.
Yeah. Yup, yup, yup. I shared another Canadian song with you in a separate chat, and it happens to be about Toronto, so you can enjoy that later. It's called the Toronto song.
Oh, good. All right.
And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. We won't get
Uh,
into that on this podcast because I don't know that that song's really. I wouldn't say it's inappropriate
but is it not kid
necessarily,
friendly?
but it's yeah, it's on the verge.
On the
I would
cusp.
maybe show it to my kid.
Yeah, but we know what kinds of things you like to show your
I'm
kids.
a bad mother.
I like this idea that we start a rumor that you're a terrible mother.
I'm just a bad mom. I'm missing a soccer game right now. They were 0-0 at halftime.
Ooh, that's exciting. Low
I might
scoring.
get a.
Mm,
They should be just about done.
yeah.
Did
You
they
gonna?
win? They haven't won a game yet.
Oh yeah.
This is like game 6.
That's how Zoe's soccer team was. They didn't win any games, but they didn't care. So, and
Yeah.
and I was
You
worried
don't
that they
care
would
until you
care.
care, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I was worried that they would care because this is the older kids. They're like, she's 12, right? So,
Mm, mm.
but they had really great coaches who really don't focus on it. You know, they try. The coaches
That's good.
are really amazing because they don't focus on the score and the winning, and they don't try to, like, that's not important to them. But they're also really good at teaching the kids how to play soccer. So, um,
Well, that's the whole idea.
yeah, so it's the perfect, like, they're doing what they're
That's
supposed to be
amazing.
doing
I love that.
for
Love
a
that.
rec league, and you can definitely tell that a lot of those other teams where the parents and the coaches care a lot more about winning, and I'd like, man, it must be stressful to be a kid on that team. So
Yes, that's definitely not the vibe I am going for.
yeah,
But I do wish they'd win occasionally just for the excitement of it, you know?
yeah, it is fun
Um,
because my
yeah,
younger
they just
daughter,
feel proud, you
the
know?
9-year-old, her team is real good. They win like all their games, and that is fun.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm.
So
It feels good. It
mhm.
feels good. Welcome, Tweep. Hope you've caught up with us by now. Catching up on 2 times speed.
Yeah.
Probably in like 10 minutes or so, you'll hear this
Yep,
and
yep,
have
yep,
another little bit of speedy listening to go.
yep.
Um, all right, shall we?
Yes. One question before we get started, though.
Mm.
So can if I get maple syrup in Canada, can I not bring it home?
Oh, I'm pretty sure you can.
I'll have to
I think
look
there's
into
like a
that.
limit. Yeah.
I'll have to look into that because
Yeah.
I gotta get some maple syrup while I'm there.
Gots to get yourself some maple syrup.
Yeah.
And just don't buy the tourist maple syrup.
I hear the minimum requirement, it has to be in a can.
Yes. Get the stuff in a can. But they don't sell that in Alberta, but they sell it in Ontario and it is the best.
Yeah.
So,
If
stuff in a can.
yeah. So if they don't let me take it back, from Niagara Falls, we're definitely going to Niagara Falls. Lydia says
Oh, yay. That's awesome. Niagara Falls is amazing.
never been,
When are you
so
going? When's this trip?
it's the end of June. It'll be an 8-day trip that'll go from the very end of June all the way to the beginning of July.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I'm gonna be traveling Canada in June as well. I get to go to uh Newfoundland.
New How many territories are in Canada?
There are 3 territories and 10 provinces. And
Wait, I forgot. I forgot that there. So wait, are territories and provinces? Is that kind of like how we have states and territories? Like how?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Sort of. Not exactly the same, but like similar idea.
okay. So when I say territories, I probably meant provinces, is what I was
I think
asking.
so, yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
10 provinces. I didn't even know that. Yeah.
Really? You didn't know that? Yeah, 10 provinces. And Newfoundland's the only one I haven't been to. I've been to all the other ones, so.
Well, I can name like only 3 provinces. So you
Really? Which
okay?
ones?
Let's see real quick, and then we'll get started. How many can I name?
Okay.
There's British Columbia.
Mm.
It's that sounded like a disappointed groan.
It's just that one, everyone knows that one. So I'm
I'm I'm
curious to see.
I've, I
You were
didn't.
there.
I
You went
actually
there.
didn't know that one until I went there. Is that bad? I don't. Anyway,
Oh, well, it's a very big tourist spot, so a lot of people know BC. Anyway, go
okay,
ahead. British
okay,
Columbia.
okay. So British Columbia, Ontario. That's where I'm going. And you're from
Mhm.
Alberta, so that's 3.
It's true.
Okay, so now you've also just mentioned Newfoundland, so
Mhm.
that's 4. What else? We got Quebec. Quebec. That's
There you go,
5.
half of them.
Oh wow, you're right. That's 5. Is Saskatchewan a province? So that's
Yes!
6. I know that from the song that you sang. All right. There's one I'm thinking of that has 2 words in its name, and it's in
Mhm.
the east.
Mhm.
Oh no. I think that's it. That's all I know. No, don't tell me.
That's it.
Hold on. There's another one somewhere in the middle that's like really
Yes.
wild. And when I mean wild, I
Oh,
mean
I
like
told you about that one
yeah,
at Gen
it's
Con
very
because
remote.
there was this like guy killed a bunch of people and went into the nowheresville of this province
Yeah.
because most of it is very remote, but no, it has some like urban areas, but most of it is quite remote. And this guy was hiding out in one of these remote locations.
Is it I want to say the Yukon, but that's not.
That's one of the territories.
Is it? Oh, that's a
Hmm.
territory. Okay. Oh, look, bonus point. Um,
Bonus.
but that's it. That I don't know. The one in the east, you're gonna tell me, and I'm gonna be mad at myself.
Okay, well, the one you were thinking of was Manitoba.
Mm,
The wilderness one
yeah,
that I
yeah,
told you
okay,
about
yeah, yeah.
at yeah. And then New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and
Nova
Prince
Scotia is
Edward
the one I was trying
Island
to remember. Yep,
are the Atlantic provinces in
yep.
addition to Newfoundland. So yes, you did pretty good.
I did pretty
You did
good.
pretty good. There's
Yeah.
no way I could name all 50 states.
Honestly, I probably would have trouble naming all 50 of them as well.
There's so many of
Yeah,
them. And give me a map, I will be wrong. I'll be like, the
yeah.
middle part?
Lots of people memorized a song that has them all alphabetically, but I did not. So
Mm. Well, 50's a lot.
yeah. Let's get
Okay,
started with
I
this science podcast.
let's get started. I do need to leave you hanging for 2 seconds because I need to fill my water.
Yeah.
My mouth is dry. I
Okay.
will be right back.
True crime. Oh, you're talking about this watching as fast as you can tweet, yeah. Well, you'll get caught up, don't worry. Yeah, when I go so I've tasked poutine, maple syrup. Those are the things I need to do, and then also I need to successfully cross the border and get back into our country without being detained. Oh, I laugh because I don't want to be not laughing. But we're very excited about the trip, and that's probably when, for anybody who wasn't there or is looking for it, I will by the time I leave have edited the live show we did in Vegas, and that's probably when I'm gonna. I haven't even told Maura yet. That's probably the week that we'll put that up, so that we can. Since I'll be gone, we won't be recording a podcast that week. Oh, do we have something for the top of the show? I don't.
What was the thing I was thinking of? Oh yeah. Um I got something.
Okay.
Just grab up quick. Okay, there we go.
All right, ready when you are.
Okay, here we go. Hey everyone, it's May 26th, 2025, and you're listening to All Around Science. My name's Maura Armstrong.
And I'm Bobby Frankenberger, and we are two huge fans of science here to get you caught up on what's going on in the world of science and just generally geek out about science stuff. How are you doing, Maura?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited to be doing another live show. We haven't done this
Yeah.
in a while because we had our in-person one in Vegas, and so now we've got some fine folks in the chat. Hello, chat.
Yeah, you were just commenting before we started recording at how it feels a little different to because a lot of the people
Yeah.
that are in the chat right now you got to meet in person, and it's like you
Yeah.
have faces to names now, and I got to meet a lot of the
Yeah.
people that are in the chat for the first time. Like some of them I had never met before, like Tweep and Lydia. So it was great to see everybody, and I know we've already said all this on past episodes, but we're talking to them now, right? So
That's right. It's true. It's true. Um yeah, I did want to also talk about something. I don't think we talked about this at all. And I'm already like a little bit behind. Did you hear about Cosmos 482, the Soviet Venus probe that failed to leave Earth's gravity
oh,
like 53 years ago and then
and then
eventually
it was up in
it
orbit
crashed
for a
back?
long time,
Yeah, yeah.
and it finally
Um
came down. Yeah, I did see this. I saw the headlines. I didn't read about it. Did you read about it?
a little bit because there was like a chance that it was going to land on a populated area.
Yeah.
They actually don't 100% know where it landed
Well, that seems weird.
because I know it is somewhere in the Indian Ocean. But they're not tracking it, right?
Oh,
Like it doesn't have active,
right.
beep
It
beep beep
doesn't.
beep beep beep.
Yeah,
Beep.
it doesn't have like whatever you would call it. Just the electronics on it to send those signals
Yeah,
out.
exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, if it just falls in the ocean unless somebody saw where it fell, you have no real way of tracking it. So, thankfully, it seemed to have fallen pretty harmlessly. But there was a chance for a while that it would have hit down on land, touched down on land.
Well,
And
I'm
that would have sucked.
yeah, that wouldn't have been great, but I'm glad that it didn't. I'm glad it's on the ocean. Hopefully, there were no ships where it landed, but the chances are low, right? So
Yes, yes. How do we know it fell? That's a good question. Lydia asks in the chat, how do we know it fell? This is information coming from Russia's space agency.
yeah.
So, depending on how much of a conspiracy theorist you are, take that as you will.
I think what are the like what benefit would they have to tell us that one of their things fell from space and the end it didn't? You know, like I don't know.
There are photos of it also, during its last orbit. Like you can take pictures of it in the sky, so like I guess they're not seeing it anymore.
Oh yeah, like you can
So
track those things. There's apps you can get
yeah,
to track
yeah,
all the stuff that you can see from Earth. So
yeah. So since we're no longer seeing it,
it's a good
it
chance.
makes sense that it probably did
S-
fall down.
So speaking of and tangentially related, have you ever seen the the International Space Station go by?
Um, no, I have never, not like with my own eyes.
Yeah,
No,
right.
I
Neither have
well
I.
maybe I maybe have seen it like as a little dot, but I've never like looked through a telescope or anything like that.
I've never even seen it as a dot go by. Apparently, it moves pretty quickly, but there
It
are all
does.
these things you can do to find out when it's going to
Mm.
be over your part of the sky, and you can see it. But I just never have done it, and I want to. So why haven't I done it?
Well, I will once again quote Lydia. ISS Spotter app is a thing that apparently exists. So check it out.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I use the Night Sky app on my phone if I need to find some sort of thing. I saw what I thought was a comet or maybe a jet plane, but it was hard to tell because it looked like a comet, but also a jet plane. Anyway, turns out it was just a plane. But I had to, well, yeah, I had to take a look.
Yeah. Well, keep your eye to the sky and track this stuff. Are you much of a stargazer?
I would call myself a casual stargazer.
Yeah, me too. I don't.
Mhm.
I'm not like always out there looking for stuff, but I do like to, whenever I notice the planets, I like to like point them out, look at them. I like to every once in a while go out and look at constellations. Not too long ago, there was a lunar eclipse, a blood moon, and
Mm.
the kids were so excited about it. It was a school night, and we woke them up, or I woke them up. Stephanie did not get out of bed, um, but I woke them up at like 2:30 or 3 in the morning,
Oh,
and we went out there and set up chairs, and we like watched it happen, and they were very excited.
that's cool.
Yeah,
That's very exciting.
yeah. So very, very cool. Before we get started with the show, before the sciencey part of the show, I just want to do my usual plug of my new science news show called Daily Science Brief. We just had an episode that came out today talking about really interesting things like China's making some real progress in renewable energy. For the first time, they're actually like reducing their carbon output
Amazing.
year after year or year over year, and other things like a cervix that was grown on a chip so that they can test some theories about why premature births happen. Um,
Like a potato chip?
no, that would be gross.
I mean, it's kind of gross anyway.
Well, maybe.
But good gross, right? Like awesome gross.
Yeah, it's like a computer chip something
Got it.
that can
Got it.
take measurements
A
and
circular disc of
yeah,
some kind.
some kind of disc. Yeah. But yeah, check it out. All It's not all around science. That's the one you're listening to right now. It's a daily science brief, 10 minutes of science news, 2 days a week, working towards 5 days a week by the end of the summer. But yeah, check it out. Daily science brief. Mora, I would like, instead of me telling everyone where they can find out where I talk about science, I would like you to tell me about science, but that's going to have to wait because now that I'm looking at the notes, I realize
You're first.
that I'm first. So I'm going to be telling you about some more science.
It's more of the Bobby show. Let's go.
All right. Now I'm going to take a moment to clear my head because apparently
Indeed.
I'm
Indeed.
confused.
A little lost. I'm gonna make sure because I'm doing a listener question episode,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm just now realizing super unclear which are the questions from the listeners.
Mm.
So I'm now making them blue.
Oh, yeah. I was about to say, it looks pretty clear to me, but I guess you just made them blue.
Yes.
All right. Heat does this. Yes, Logan. It is warm in here. Didn't you tell me that
Did anyone?
the house that you're in right now is the first one, like you have air conditioning now and you did not before?
Yeah.
Wow.
Very first time in my life I have AC. And this house needs it because it's not built to remain cool. All the previous houses I lived in you could manage it because the way the heating distributed through the house was okay. Like it worked.
Yeah.
But this house, it can't because it's 2 stories and the air just does not move very well.
What a life you live.
So
Like to be
it's
even...
crazy. Yeah. And it's interesting too because the summer that I got AC, 2021 was like the hottest summer ever on record. It was just painfully hot the whole summer. And so I was like so happy that we had it because it was miserable outside. So, yeah. I mean, for me, it was like 30 degrees every day.
30 degrees.
30!
That is
What's that, like
87 degrees Fahrenheit. I know that
Wow.
off the top of my head, Mora.
Nice work.
You
You're
know-
doing great. I do not return that favor. I never translate it back for you. You
No,
always translate
you
it for
and the
me.
rest of the world do not have to pay us that service. That's the way I look at it. But I have actually been, because I've been thinking about how we're going to be driving through Canada because we're going to rent a car and we're gonna
Mhm.
drive through Canada. So I was like, you know what I'm gonna do for fun is I'm gonna switch my. There's a button I can press to go back and forth between miles per hour and kilometers per hour. So I'm like, I'm gonna
Nice.
kind of get like familiar with what not that I would need to really, but it was just for fun, right? Like it says both of them on the
Well,
car.
that's true. You might
The
wanna keep it on kilometers per hour, though, just so you don't mess it up.
Well, that's why
Because
I wanted
all
to
the
do it is
speeds will
like
be posted, right?
yeah, so I wanted to be like well, we're not driving our car. We're going to rent one, but anyway, I
Mm.
wanted to kind of like get used to the idea of glancing down and seeing a number that was much larger than I'm used to. um
Yeah, I guess so, hey?
uh
'Cause there's all these songs that are like, "I'm going 99 miles per hour." I'm like, "Well, that's not that fast."
yeah.
That's, like, really fast.
Yeah, the other thing though I did was I was like, "Oh, I switched all of the temperature readings in the van to Celsius instead of Fahrenheit so I can start like
Mm.
not just doing the math in my head, but
Trying to get
like
used to
getting
it.
used to what it feels like also.
The feel of it, the vibe of it.
That's something I want to know in general because when I'm flying, all of the temperatures we deal with are in
Mm.
Celsius as well.
Mm. Mhm.
So but yeah, so just today actually I saw that it said 30 C and I was like, "Oh, 30." Like there are certain numbers I should learn and be able to quickly translate and 30 is 87. So, yeah.
Well, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Sorry we're talking slow now, Tweep. It is, yeah. I get you. I get you. I
Yeah.
wonder I wonder if I could ever match my 2 times speed voice.
Mm,
I don't think I could.
no. You can't cuz you have to like there's like pitch shifting and all that kind of stuff that has to happen.
Yeah, yeah. It's not just clipping your words.
Mhm.
Um, Tweep also asked about a mascot contest stream that NASA did a few days ago.
I didn't know about this.
I did not hear about this.
NASA mascot contest. Moon mascot. NASA Artemis 2 ZGI design challenge.
Hmm.
NASA invites creators to design mascot for Artemis moon mission. Wow. Yeah, there's a whole YouTube stream apparently. Oh no, this is a commercial. 5-minute commercial. I'll have to watch
Did
this.
you know, the famous Challenger explosion, the one that
Yes.
exploded in like the 80s or early 90s?
Mm-hmm.
Uh they almost had Big Bird on that flight. They almost like had him going on the rocket. They were gonna like do it to like boost kids' interest in space. They're
Right,
like,
because they
"Oh,
had the
he's going on the
teacher. The
rocket."
teacher was on there,
Yeah,
and
the teacher's on there, yeah.
because that was the big
But
thing about that, they were trying to like education. Like
yeah, yeah,
wow.
right? Isn't that so good that they didn't?
Yeah, I mean
And
it's
that's probably why they were like, "This is very dangerous."
yeah, like my instinct is to say, oh, thank goodness. It's obviously a tragedy that it, that it happened and that the teacher was on there and
For
everything.
sure,
But
for
can you
sure.
imagine, especially at that time in the late '80s, early
Yeah.
'90s?
Yeah, Big Bird
Big
was a big deal.
yeah. Holy
Oh,
cow.
yeah. Right? Like,
What
and
would
I
have?
don't think they, like, actually would have had him, but just, like, pretending he's going on this.
Yeah, but that's what I'm. So like, would they have had to not have him on the show anymore?
Right? Would they kill him off?
Yeah.
That must have been the conversation they had, like, "Okay, what if?"
Yeah.
Because we know something bad could happen,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
Wow. All right, let's talk about some science.
Yeah, this is so sad.
Yeah, it didn't
Oh,
even
what a
happen,
tragedy.
but that's crazy to think about.
I know, and it's somehow it shouldn't feel worse than the people, but a little bit, it
That's
feels like
yeah,
it would have been
that's
worse.
why I was hesitating to say that because it shouldn't be,
Yeah.
but I feel like it would have been worse for like our generation of children, like the people like
Like, I think it would be more scarring because kids knew and loved and understood Big
yeah,
Bird. They didn't know and love and understand these astronauts,
right.
Like, they might know who they are, but, like, it's a different thing. Anyway, that's neither here nor there because obviously it was tragic no matter which way you
Yeah,
slice it,
for
but
sure.
they avoided a greater tragedy,
Yeah,
adding on to that tragedy, so,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
definitely. All right, here we go. Mora, are your children are they big on promises? Like, are they obsessed with the idea of making promises?
Not really, actually. That's not really a thing they're about.
They're always they're not trying to get you to promise that this will happen or promise this or promise that, you know.
I mean, occasionally,
But
once in a while,
they're
once
not
in a while.
fixated on that. It's a common
No, no. Is that your
well,
household?
not
Something in your
really.
household?
It's funny, but I know that it's a big focus of 5 and 6 year olds. Around
Yeah,
that age,
yeah.
they always want you, and it's because that's when sort of like this idea of justice
Hmm.
starts to turn on in the brain, right?
That's
So
very true. That's very true.
so promises are a big deal because if you make a promise, then that's significant to a child that age, right? That you're
Hmm.
doing that, and you need to keep your promises, things like that. And so the reason I'm asking is because there's a new marshmallow test just dropped, and it has to do
New
with
marshmallow test. Oh my
yeah,
gosh. Gotta
and
go
it
buy it right now.
and
Just
it
dropped. I want to listen to it on Spotify.
and it has to do with making promises. So you know the marshmallow test?
I have heard of it, but
Yeah.
walk us through it.
So it's a classic psychology experiment from the 70s. And it's a test of delayed gratification in children. So the idea
Hmm.
is that with the classic marshmallow test, children were presented with a treat, a marshmallow. That's why it's called the marshmallow test. And when they were presented with the treat, they could either A, eat the treat, or B, wait 15 minutes without eating it and get two treats. All right, that
Mm.
you had this option. The kids could do it.
Hmm.
It was done on children that were about 3.5 to 5.5 years old, and it just tested kids' ability to delay gratification and what age that ability started to kick in, and then they tested other little things surrounding it, tried to see what kinds of conditions might make it easier or harder to delay gratification and everything. And on the surface, this test just showed that kids were more successful at delaying gratification if they employed distraction tactics. That was
Right.
what they were trying to test
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
could you because and this is kind of an aside and I think this is interesting because it just kind of is like lets you sort of a window on how little we knew about psychology then compared to now and what we
Hmm.
take for
Hmm.
granted because back then their hypothesis was that focusing on and being able to see the treat and really focusing on it would be the thing that made them delay gratification. And they
Because they
thought
were
that,
just so excited
well, they
about
thought that
having it later.
because they thought that because they hypothesized that if the kids were able to see what it is that they could have more of, then they would be
Mm.
able to better resist knowing they would get more of that thing. And isn't that such
Hmm.
a like adults trying to apply adult logic to children kind of situation? You know what I mean?
Yes, however, I think it's also a little just mixed up because I think as an adult, I would have trouble with that.
Yeah. I
Like to look at the thing and be like, boy, do I ever want that marshmallow?
yeah.
And I'm going to stare at it and
S-
think more about it. Seems just counterintuitive.
So maybe it's less of an adult applying adult logic to children problem and more of a hyper rational ivory tower scientist trying to apply.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
the original marshmallow test was conducted in like the 1960s, right?
Yeah, and it was a little bit different than the classic marshmallow test that we know about from the 70s. It was slightly different.
Mm,
But the one that I just described, which was done a little bit later, is the one that is most commonly
mm. Okay.
referred to. But anyway, that was the on the surface what they were looking at. They showed that distraction tactics would help delay gratification, and it
Hmm.
seems very intuitive to us now. Um, but the more controversial part of the study were the follow-ups that seemed that people did on the participants of the study, because they
Mm,
followed up on a lot of these participants and they thought when they looked at sort of life outcomes of these participants, they seemed to have a correlation between the kids who successfully delayed gratification seemed to have better and higher SAT scores, higher socioeconomic status,
Okay.
stuff like that. And so for a long time, it was thought that children who can who are better at delaying gratification would be more successful in life. That was
Mhm.
the things. But it was very controversial. Eventually, it became very controversial and shown to be problematic because those better life outcomes actually correlated more closely. When they analyzed it more closely, it correlated more closely with the kid's socioeconomic status at the time of the experiment, and
Mm.
also with their trust in authority at the time of the experiment.
Ah, interesting.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so like the idea being that if you were a child from a poor family who had uh, less trust in authority, then you might not trust that they were going to come back or give you the extra treat, or maybe if your family was had a hard time coming by food, you'd be like, well, I'm going to eat this now because I don't
Yeah,
know if it's going to.
there's no
Yeah.
yeah, there's no reason to wait if you've got it right in front of you. That
And
totally makes
yeah,
sense.
and
Yeah.
then not knowing whether or not you were even going to get the second treat or
Mhm.
not. So why not
Mhm.
just take what you've gotten right in front of you? Anyway, the point of me saying all that was that it's a very controversial study and it's been redone. The original study's been redone. Variations on it have been done many times in the decades since, to look at things like cultural differences.
Mm.
One of them that was done used, instead of marshmallows, it tested delaying gratification using Christmas gifts. um,
Ha.
and some of them even tested cooperation in where pairs of children had to both choose not to eat the treat, and those were very interesting. And those were
Huh.
more recent uh, variations on the marshmallow test. But there's a new one, and it's from the same people who did that one that tested cooperation between pairs of children. And they decided that they were going to go a step further. The psychologist Rebecca Kumin, who's a psychologist at the University of Manchester, worked on that one where they tested cooperation with pairs of children to see if they could cooperate together to get a better treat. Instead, the next step she decided to take was to test the power of a promise to a partner
Mm.
to not eat the
Mhm.
treat and compare those results to the results from the social cooperation one that I mentioned. So what she did, there were 66 children from the UK who were participants. They were aged 5 to 6, which is why I asked about your children. I know you've got a child in that age range.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and the another interesting thing they did with this was it was done remotely. It was not done on site. It was done remotely in the
Okay.
children's home. This was because
I
of
see. Okay.
COVID. It was
Ah.
done during
Mhm.
COVID time, so it wasn't like a deliberate choice that they made, but they kind of like jumped on it and thought this would be a really good opportunity to test the ability to do these types of experiments remotely.
Mhm.
Like, can we do that? Um,
Yeah, that's very interesting.
yeah. So the procedure was the they chose some treats. They actually, I thought this was interesting. They got the parents to choose the treats that it wasn't just marshmallows. They asked the parents to choose treats that were something that the child would really like, which is
Mhm.
great. Good idea. Make it something that the kids really want, right? Then the parents were asked to set up the experiment in a quiet room with minimal distractions, and it was monitored with a webcam. So the
Okay.
experimenters could see the room and make sure that there indeed were minimal distractions and stuff like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Each child was shown a video of a Confederate child, that is a child who would be working with them, right?
Oh, not
Not
like
like
a
a
child of the Confederacy.
yeah, not like a Southern soldier from the Civil War. Yeah, no.
Okay.
um, but it was a Confederate child, someone who would be working with them, who
Okay.
either promised not to eat their treat or ambiguously implied that they might end up eating their treat.
And if this child was to eat them, then both of them don't get the second treat?
Yes,
Just was
that's
to
what
eat
the
the treat? Got it,
situation
got it, got
was.
it.
They were told that if they both managed to not eat their treats in their
Mm.
homes, because remember,
Mhm.
the Confederate child, the child that they were working with, it was a pre-recorded video, right?
Right.
But the kid who was the participant child didn't know that.
Got it.
They were being led to believe that it was someone who was doing this at the same time as them.
Mhm.
So they were told that if both of the children did not eat their treat separately in their own homes, then they would both get an extra treat. But they both had to do it. If either one of them ate one, or even just like licked it or nibbled it or anything,
Mm.
then they would not get an extra treat.
Okay.
And so then the scientists would leave the video meeting for an undisclosed amount of time, and then they would see if they failed, they wouldn't get a second treat. The scientists did come back in 10 minutes, and I will say, I liked reading this, that the participant children did actually always get an extra treat regardless of the outcome.
Oh, that's nice.
How nice, right? Like, thanks
Yeah,
for participating.
yeah.
Yeah,
Kids 5 and 6-year-olds
yeah,
would be heartbroken
yeah.
to find out that they did not get this
Yeah,
extra treat.
yeah, because I did think of that before I read this. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
what about those kids who did? But they gave them a treat.
Good,
So the
good.
results were that being promised to not eat their treat would make children delay gratification longer. So
Hmm.
that's what they learned, is that
Huh.
promises are important to these,
Nice.
and that the younger the child was, the greater the effect of a promise. So the longer
So
they were able to delay.
are younger children more trusting?
So they speculated that maybe, they don't know this, of course, but they speculated that perhaps what's happening there is that the younger a child is, the fewer opportunities to be disappointed by false promises they've had in their lives. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's depressing.
Yeah, it's kind of a depressing interpretation of what's happening, but maybe true. Um, but yeah, so the limitations they talked about were small sample size, of course, only 66 kids, and also a very limited demographic. There were mostly white middle class backgrounds that the children
Right,
had.
okay.
So they do want to replicate this with larger groups of kids and everything. Now, all of that's kind of interesting, and yeah, cool. Promises help, but what I really did think was interesting is that they were able to demonstrate that this type of
Mm.
experimental paradigm could be done online.
Yeah, that's really neat.
Yeah.
Especially, I think it's interesting too, because COVID times, you're 5 or 6 years old, you now know what video calls are, pretty much
Yeah,
all of
yeah.
them. Like, many already do, but at this point, they all would've, so it would've felt very normal.
Yeah, yeah. So very cool little fun thing. I just think the marshmallow test is really a neat experiment. And so
Mhm.
I like reading about different variations. So maybe this will be a
Yeah,
recurring
that's neat.
a recurring segment over the years, is updates on the marshmallow test.
Marshmallow update. I think that my husband and I are inadvertently training our children not to delay gratification,
Yeah, why is it? How's that?
because here's what happens in our house.
Oh boy.
I make a treat of some kind.
Yeah. Give me an
Nanaimo
example.
bars. Nanaimo bars.
What is that?
Oh, another slice of Canadiana, quite literally. It's like graham chocolate base, custard, icing, and then chocolate on top. It's very good.
Oh, geez.
Um, cake, cookies, whatever, what have you. I bake something.
Yeah.
My kids are like, "Yay!" They each get 1, maybe they each get 2. A day passes, and my husband and I eat all of the rest. And the reason we do this is because I grew up with 3 siblings, and you ate it right away or you got nothing. And he grew up with the mom who was afraid of fat. And so every time there was a hint of unhealthy food, and he has a couple stories as a child of overindulging. Uh, he was just like, yeah, eat it all. So this is our mindset that we've come to adulthood with. And this happened the other day because Bennett made a cake.
Mm-hmm.
He was very proud of it. He decorated it really cool, looked like a dog. It was awesome. And and then he came back the next day. He's like, okay, the ear was still there and half of the
Oh my
face was
gosh,
still
yeah.
there, and now it's gone. I was like, well,
Yeah. Yeah,
sorry.
this happens to me a lot, and I I eat the kids' candy and stuff and everything just because I have a really bad sweet tooth. I'm not I I don't even try to pretend that I'm trying to teach them any kind of a lesson. Um,
Yeah.
it's just my failing as a person. But it used to not be a problem. I used to be able to just get away with doing it because they were little kids and they didn't notice and often
Yep.
forgot that they had things. But
Mhm.
now they
Mm.
know. They know when I've
Mhm.
and so it's harder for me
So
to
funny.
do because they're
So
like
funny.
and they know it's me that took it. I'm known as a candy thief around this house, so
Dad!
yeah, basically that's
The other
exactly what happens.
the other day, I had a little bowl of crackers for myself. My daughter's, like, eating them. She's like, "Did you get these for me?" I was like, "No." She eats some more. "I'm gonna have some." I'm like, "I know. I know that all of my snacks are fair game.
Mhm.
You can have them."
Yeah.
I have accepted this, that if I need to eat, and I even told this to them, "If I need to eat something, I have to hide it from you guys."
Have you resorted to hiding things before?
Oh, yeah, all the
Yeah, okay,
time.
good. Yeah, cuz
I'll,
I
like,
do that too.
sneakily eat it while I'm driving too, like, I'm pretty good at, like, hiding things, or I'll buy things they don't like dark chocolate. It's
They don't
great.
like dark chocolate? Oh, me and
No.
Kaylee love dark chocolate.
Ah, interesting.
That's my
Interesting.
I like dark chocolate
Um,
a lot.
hello, Palmer, September,
Oh,
BioCal.
newcomers.
Palmer's gonna feed you Nanaimo bars. Thank you,
It's
Palmer.
funny that you said that because I was looking back. We got this text chain between all the people that we're going to be visiting, and one of them was listing things that are like Canadian things that we have to eat, and there were things I recognized, and one of them was I looked at it again because I thought, and one of them was
Nanaimo
Nanaimo bars.
bars.
That's what you said. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a town in BC. That's where they were invented, in Nanaimo, British Columbia.
Yeah. Hmm.
Ooh, Jamie hides her treats in the freezer behind the veggies. Smart. Just smart. That's a good idea. Hide them around places that people don't want to see them. I've got a couple hiding spots around the space, but yeah, I think Bennett's gonna have to start hiding his treats from us.
Yeah. Yeah.
We get a little over enthusiastic.
Yeah. I like candy quite a lot, and I know you like candy.
Well, yeah, I finished all my American candy.
Yeah, Mora, you guys don't know this unless you were there, and because Mora was talking about it the whole time. She was
Look,
looking for every time I saw Mora, she gave me an update on the what were they were the caramel cold brew M&Ms, right?
that's right, that's right. You guys don't know how good you have it. They're so good.
Because we sell them here and they don't sell them in Canada.
Mhm,
And so
mhm.
the whole time we were in Vegas, she was like, "All right, okay, so you guys are going to this escape room. Well, I'll meet you there because I got to stop by the store first and check to see
It was,
if this drugstore has them."
yes, exactly. I was with Logan when I finally successfully found them. I
Yeah,
bought 3 bags.
but I was glad that because I was starting to look for them for you as well. So
Good. Thank you. Thank you. I brought one to work,
yeah,
one to share with my family, and one for me.
yeah,
It's
that
good.
was
It's
quite
great.
generous of you because I was convinced you were gonna keep them all to yourself.
No, it was okay. It was okay. Um, but yeah, next time I'll have to get some more again.
Mm,
Next time I come to the States. No plans as of now, but we shall see.
yeah, right. We got some
All right.
questions to answer, or you
We
do
sure
anyway.
do. I do. All right, let's do this.
You want me to read your questions? Is that how we're gonna do this,
Yeah.
like we usually do?
Yeah, I'll lead us in.
Yeah.
A couple episodes ago I did questions, and when I went back into our questions channel on the Discord, the oldest one was from 2024. So
Mm,
we have a lot of catching up to do, and I would like to continue that catch up
thank you.
right now.
You're doing the chores that around the house is what you're doing right now, and I'm
Well, I
lazily.
kind of, yeah, I mean, no, I wouldn't say that. I find answering questions to be a little easier on the whole
Yeah.
than doing an in-depth
That's true.
feature.
It's like
So
letting our listeners pick our
yeah,
features for us.
yeah,
Yeah, you're right. It does take a lot of the
because
thinking out of it.
yeah, I mean, because some of these you can get pretty deep into them,
Yeah,
but I like to get it through a few.
yeah.
So these ones are a little bit less heavy. They're a little more chill. We'll talk through it. Why don't you do the first one? Why don't you read out the first one that we have here?
All right. Well, it's good we're doing this live because some of the people who asked these questions are in the chat room today, and that's true for the
Indeed.
first one. BioCow just showed up, and we got a question from BioCow. BioCow asked, "Can you be sick twice? I've been sick for about a week and a half, and I swear my symptoms are just going round and round. I've been around people from other parts of the world recently, so I'm wondering if I got sick with a bug locally. Could I also get infected with something from the East Coast or even another country at the same time?"
That is a really good question and something I've thought of myself before. I think BioCow, what you were saying is that you got sick and then felt a little better and then got sick again
Mm-hmm.
with the same feeling and got a little better and back, back
Yeah.
and forth and back and forth. Which is very, very frustrating. Now, this was from January, so I hope you're better by now.
Yeah. I hope so too.
um, but there are a couple of things that could be happening here.
Okay.
First of all, just like I described, maybe you have symptoms that are just lingering. They're
Mm.
just hanging on for whatever reason. Your immune system is not able to fully fight everything off and they just keep on going. Or maybe you hold them back, hold them at bay for a couple of days, and then it comes back in force and you're not quite able to push it all the way back.
Yeah.
This can happen especially with colds and the flu.
Mm-hmm.
Viruses in general are a little bit more likely to see this happen.
Yeah.
I learned a new term to describe that very phenomenon,
Oh,
recrudescence.
that's a cool word.
Isn't that neat? It also like it has the word crud in it, like recrud essence. So it's like the crud
Yeah.
keeps coming back.
Yeah. You're
Is what
feeling
I was
cruddy,
thinking.
and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it can be the same virus that you were already infected with just sticking around. You
Yeah.
just cannot shake it for whatever reason. And sometimes too, it may have a long-term effect on your body. So this would be in the case of something like long COVID,
Yeah.
or MECFS, which is like a variation of long COVID or other viruses can cause this as well. You get extreme fatigue and you can have a very difficult time doing literally anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the other thing that might happen too is you may end up with symptoms after you are contagious that are from, the last bits of your immune system clearing things out. So you might have a lingering cough or something that if you are around somebody else, you're not necessarily going to pass that along. It's maybe just a little tiny bit left, that last remnants, the last vanguard of the virus. Um, but it's not necessarily a new infection.
Yeah. I just recently knew someone who had the flu for a while, and then it got better 2 weeks later, and then we were doing an event at the school that was outdoors, and it required us to do a lot of like moving stuff around, lifting and moving stuff, and they were like lightheaded and started coughing a little bit and had to go lay down,
Mm,
and I'm pretty sure that was just like the flu, like, can really wreck you for weeks and weeks and weeks, and
mhm,
you might not be
mhm.
aware that it's still affecting you because maybe
Yeah,
you're just
yeah.
not as, you haven't been active for a while because you had the flu, right? And then
Yeah, exactly. Oh, totally. I remember getting a couple of respiratory illnesses that just like laid me out for a month or so when I was younger. And it would take so long to get back. And I remember being very scared too that when a cough would come back,
yeah.
if I got any kind of cough, I'd get very nervous. Now, the other thing that can happen is you can indeed get a second infection with a different virus or bacteria. Once you've recovered from one illness, your immune system may remain susceptible to other
Yeah,
viruses that are circulating around.
that's a good point because, like, if we're talking about respiratory illnesses, there's a lot of
Hmm.
different ones, right? So,
Yes, exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And I think when you are already ill, your defenses are up and you've already got a virus that has claimed the territory, a
Mm-hmm.
virus or bacteria. So, it isn't as likely that you'd get a co-infection,
Yeah.
which is when you do have 2 infections at once. It is definitely possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had that before too when you have, like, I had a very backed up sinus, and then it started, like, smelling really bad,
Mm.
and it was like you could, like, feel it in your I could, like,
Yeah.
sense it inside. It was very gross. Um So that can definitely complicate recovery, especially if you got a bacteria plus a virus and,
Yeah.
bonus virus. And you'll get more severe, more persistent, symptoms.
Yeah.
But yeah, there could be a brand new virus hopping in there. It's not really cut and dried as, like, I have this virus, it is done. Now a new virus may move in. They
Yeah.
can overlap, they can recur, they can go back and forth and back and forth. So,
Yep.
you know, wash your hands and vaccinate, I guess, is really the best thing to do
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
prevent that. But if you are sick, sorry, it sounds like BioCow was sick for a while, and
Yeah.
that sucks.
I'm glad you're better. BioCow said in the chat that they're better.
Good, good. 3 to 4 weeks of illness. Yeah, that's not terribly fun.
No.
But let's continue on with our health theme. It's not really a
Cool.
theme. There's only 2 health questions.
Okay. Well, it's a theme of the moment. All right. Next question is from Tweep, who is also in the chat. Says, "I'll throw this here. Might be interesting. Might just be me being crazy." I love the I love the qualifying you did there, Tweep. I came off of my antidepressants in 2024, was on them for like 10 years or something, and now I cry at a lot of things. Mostly things that have nostalgia, like Hit Me Baby One More Time by Britney Spears. Can you explain that with science? He asks. Is it just my brain trying to understand emotions again?
Brains. So
Yeah,
weird.
they are weird.
Like,
Oh
what
my
a
gosh.
that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Um I'm curious to know whether Treep has a really strong emotional connection with Britney Spears.
Yeah.
Uh
That is
Overall.
I mean, I'm not. I don't mean to laugh at you, Tweep, but that is a funny song to get
Like, it's
emotional about.
not yeah, like uh Britney, great, awesome, but Hit
Yeah.
Me Baby One More Time is not exactly her most, like,
Like
emotionally evocative
yeah.
song.
Right, right, right.
So I dug a little bit into what happens when you come off of antidepressants.
Okay.
If you've been on them for 6 weeks or longer, you can go through antidepressant withdrawal
Yes.
syndrome. So this can be physical and mental. You can get nausea and flu-like symptoms, tremors,
Mhm.
paranoia, mood swings. So maybe there might be some of that going on.
Yeah.
Apparently, sometimes people will experience something like an electric shock to your head. They call it brain zaps,
Yikes.
right? That one, I am quite stymied by. Like, what would be going on there that you would just like? Bzz, bzz, bzz. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, antidepressants are most of them are increasing the availability of specific neurotransmitters or
Mhm.
moderating the availability of specific neurotransmitters.
Right.
So I guess maybe there could be some kind of trigger in your head that
That's weird.
is stimulated or not stimulated or over or
Yeah.
under stimulated, and then in the absence of the antidepressant, it changes. So this can happen for a few weeks of this syndrome when you are going off of antidepressants,
Mhm.
but it can be months and sometimes years.
Yeah, yeah. It's more rare for it to be last that long, but it can definitely there are definitely people who have had what it's called serotonin syndrome, isn't it? Well,
I didn't
I
come
guess for
across
the
that.
SSRIs it would be serotonin syndrome.
Right, yeah. Because it depends. It's a lot of different classes of drugs that work on different neurotransmitters. But
Yeah.
yeah, so it's pretty rare, like you said, for it to last longer than a couple of months. But these it also depends how long it acts for. And I found all these different tables of different antidepressants and their half-life and all this crazy stuff that I thought, you know what, I'm not gonna get too deep into that because we don't 100% know why a lot of antidepressants even manage our symptoms of
Yeah.
depression and anxiety.
Which is wild to think about, but yeah.
That's the thing. Like we know, but we don't. So like we see the effects, but we don't know why. So when you come off antidepressants, you are changing the availability of some neurotransmitter in your brain. So it makes sense that you would get a shift in how you experience moods. Because it's also I say brain, but it's your whole body. It'll affect different parts of your body because you use those neurotransmitters all over yourself, and so that might explain the flu-like symptoms, the tremors, and that kind of stuff. Sometimes this will actually feel like the depression and anxiety are returning
Mm,
because, it's a treatment for a specific problem, but it's
right.
actually tough to tell that immediately, and people will, after going off of antidepressants, say things like, "Well, this feels bad, but it doesn't feel like depression," or, like, "Doesn't feel
Right,
like my
yeah.
depression did feel
Mhm.
before." And you don't always know until a couple months pass whether the depression and anxiety that you were being treated for has now returned in the absence of
Yeah,
antidepressants.
yeah.
So, there was some advice for how to manage the transition. Tweet, I know this is an old question, and that this was last year for you. So I'm not. You weren't asking for advice, but what I found out there for anyone who's thinking of changing their antidepressants or going off of them, gradual reduction, of course. Take it slow.
Yeah.
Cold turkey can be really tough. Apparently, not everyone. The stat I found was that about 20% of people who are going off of antidepressants will engage in psychotherapy, which didn't seem like enough
Yeah.
to me. Like that's not very many. So who knows where that stat came from? It might just be one study, but that can apparently help quite a lot. So, psychotherapy, if you've got a therapist that you trust, get in there, talk about how it's going. Diet and exercise, of course, that's always the thing.
Yeah.
Um, but honestly, at the end of the day, we are a bag of hormones connected by a baffling tangle of wires.
Mm.
So, I guess just remember that next time Brittany's early work hits you, baby, one more time in the feels.
Hey, I see what you did there.
Hey. So that I don't know that I can really answer that question. It's
Mhm.
not your brain learning to feel again. It's just that feelings are weird. Brains are weird.
Yeah. Brains are definitely weird.
Mhm. Okay. I have one more question,
Mhm.
and it did not come from Discord. It
Mm.
came from my son Bennett. He asked me this quite a while ago, actually, and I said I'm going to answer that on the show, and I never did. So here I am, Bennett, finally answering the question. Go ahead,
Yes.
Bobby. Would you mind reading it out for us?
So Bennett asks, "What would happen if you were in the center of the earth?" That's a cool question.
It is. It's a very cool question. Now I need to add in a couple of qualifiers here.
Mhm.
What's at the center of the earth, Bobby?
The very hot iron core of the earth.
Yes, it's real hot. It's real dense. There's no air and nowhere for you to go. So we're going to erase those couple of variables.
We're gonna assume that you could be in the center of the earth without instantly being immolated.
Exactly. Exactly. And the answer is that the gravitational pull on you, if you're in the center of the earth, would be equal on all sides. Not entirely equal because you've got the sun and the planets and things, but more or less with the entire earth surrounding you, it would be equal. So you would actually float.
Right, because like of course the Earth's gravity, we think not we think, we know the Earth's gravity is pulling us towards the center, but if the center were somehow hollow and we could be there,
Mm-hmm.
then all the mass where the gravity was would now be around us, not below
Mm-hmm.
us. Like, well, some of it would be
Mm-hmm.
below us, but so it would be pulling us away, like out from in
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
directions.
You're going to have an equal pull towards Canada as you are towards Australia, as you are towards China,
Yeah.
etc. Because it's hard to use the words up and down in this scenario.
Yeah. So would you, if you like extended an arm in one direction, would it pull you more in that direction? Do you think?
I guess if your center of mass shifted a little, maybe, but you'd have to then escape the gravity of the bottom half of the earth
Right.
in order to go upward.
Right, because it's not like a magnet. So like if my arm gets
Yeah,
closer
yeah.
to one side, it's not gonna pull harder on that arm
Mhm, mhm.
because it's still, yeah, it's not like a magnet. It's not a it's not a magnetic field that gets, you know. Yeah, okay. I'm wrapping my head around it.
For sure, for sure. It was such an interesting question. Um, now don't it's hard to think of floating as gravity, but gravity is a property of all matter, so it's still there,
Mhm.
and because Earth itself is quite dense, there's quite a lot of matter close together, it exerts a significant, gravitational force, um, so you are going to be experiencing that pull in multiple directions.
Mhm.
Um, now if you instead of just were in the bubble at the center of the earth, if you had a tube that went through the earth
Yes.
and you jumped into it, you would accelerate at normal gravitational speeds that we experience on the earth's surface for the first little bit, and then as more earth went above your head, that earth would start to exert its gravitational pull on you as you were falling. So that when you got about halfway to the center of the earth, your acceleration would be less than at the surface.
Interesting. I wonder by how much
Does that make sense?
yeah, on the surface, I wonder what the math is like. You'd have to do the math, I guess. On the surface is 9.8 meters per second squared.
Mhm.
Um, but halfway down, I'm sure it's not like half of that. It's
It's not
not
like 4 point,
9. Yeah.
yeah, 4.6 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would be because if you're halfway to the center of the earth, what, like 3/4 of the mass is underneath you and 1/4 is on top, so something like that.
But wouldn't some of the mass
Um,
above you be pulling you back? Would you make it to the could you is it possible that
mhm.
you wouldn't make it to the center?
Well, you would make it to the center.
Oh,
Now we're
because there's
assuming
the
a
other
couple of
half of
things.
the earth is also pulling on you.
Exactly, it's
Oh,
pulling on you. Now if you as you kept falling, you now once you hit the center of the earth where you would theoretically float, you have a lot of momentum. You're already moving really fast.
yeah, you'll splat onto the inside of the other side.
Yes, but imagine it's a tube that goes all the way through. So you just
Oh.
whoom, you go down and then back through the other side. Now you've got a really high speed when you're at the center of the earth and you pass that floaty gravity spot
Mhm.
with that momentum and now the earth starts to pull you back towards the center as you continue falling through
Oh,
this
right.
tube. Then once you got to the other side, you would stop at the crust of the earth where you initially started
Yeah.
on the other side.
So would that happen
Yeah,
over and over again forever, or would you lose
pretty much.
momentum? Would you lose some momentum every time?
I mean, if you have no air resistance, I guess you could just do over and over forever,
Interesting.
right? Like what would be slowing you down?
That's what I'm trying to think. Where would
I
the
don't know if it
energy
would.
loss come from? Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe nowhere, I guess.
Maybe if you were flailing your limbs and
If it's in a vacuum, then you're right.
uh-huh,
But if you
uh-huh.
want to be able to breathe and survive, then
Which you probably would. Which you probably would.
yeah.
Um so yeah, I thought that was really interesting. Basically, you can fall back and forth forever if you jump into a tube in the middle of the earth.
Yeah.
Um of course there's many problems like the earth is spinning and the air resistance, and also there's a lot of very very hot and dense things in the center of the earth,
Right.
but pretty cool to consider. Pretty
Yeah.
cool to consider. So if it were possible to get yourself into the center of the earth, you would float. Um and in the chat, September asked, "Would you get spaghettified?" That's a good question.
You would not.
Spaghettification, yeah, you wouldn't. And spaghettification is when, if you are approaching a black hole, because the gravity near the bottom of your body, if you imagine your feet down there first, is so much more than the gravity at the top of your head. Your body would start to basically unravel like spaghetti. Bobby,
Yes.
am I representing that right?
You're right. It's because the forces are so strong, um, and they increase, and the gravitational forces increase exponentially, or by the inverse square law, right?
Ah,
So
okay.
so the when you get closer to something, it's not a linear increase in gravitational force. It's not like one step closer is one step further
Mm,
in gravity.
mhm.
It's inverse square. So like one step closer to any massive object, the gravity increases by an amount square the distance, right? So 2 meters closer would be four times the gravity.
Right. Right.
And so that you don't necessarily notice that so much when you're going to the surface of a planet, but a black hole, all that mass is in an infinitesimally small point, so you can get closer and closer and closer to it without ever passing any of the mass, right? So all
Mm,
the mass
mhm.
is still below you, and so eventually you'll get close enough to it that one step closer is like massively an increase in the gravity. So the difference that your of gravity that your head feels is much lower than the difference that your feet feel, and so every inch of your body is experiencing gravity stronger and stronger and stronger. So your feet get pulled down much more strongly than your head does, and then it theoretically, of course, you're pulled into a long strand of spaghetti, um, and so that's why they call it spaghettification, right?
Yes. At the center of a giant mass, it's kind of the opposite. You're being pulled in all directions equally. And
Yeah,
so um it would not have that effect. And I think too, it sounds like if you're if you're pulled like apart, it's not like you're like being yanked apart in pieces. Each cell in your body is experiencing push and pull that is equal from all directions, which makes you float.
right,
So you're not it's not like a ripping effect, because it would be dramatic enough to be able to do that. You wouldn't It's not like it's grabbing parts of you and physically tearing them. So,
right. Yeah.
yeah.
Good question, Bennett.
Yeah, it was good. Added into the chat, Bennett also wondered how long it would take to go from one side to the other. 42 minutes.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
really fast.
Isn't that insane how
Yeah.
fast that is?
Yes.
You get up going pretty quick by the time you fall to the middle. So,
Oh my gosh. There
yeah.
need to be some very, very important, very carefully designed safety measures to where I don't hit the side
This
of
one
the
wouldn't be
tube.
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It would be a
This
difficult, more of an engineering challenge than a physics experiment.
Yeah, for sure.
um, I do want to address September's question. what would
Yeah.
happen with time? Because
What?
we know that we experience time differently based on our altitude, right?
So yeah, the further away you are from a gravitational body, the slower your time goes. Um, so if you're experiencing more gravity, like if you're experiencing the force of gravity more, then your time will go faster. So it really just depends on is are you if you're getting closer to the center of the earth, are you experiencing a stronger gravitational field? Like, are you closer to a gravitational force? That's a weird one to me because this is where I'm having
Mhm.
trouble wrapping my
Mhm.
head around it
Yep.
because it's not like a black hole. Like it's easy to answer a question like that with a black hole because the entire mass is at a single point, right? With a planet like the Earth, if you're going into it to the middle of it, the some of the all the mass is no longer below you. It's surrounding you. So I would think if you were in the center, you're probably experiencing less. The gravitational forces are less than if you were on the surface.
Well, I wouldn't think so. I would think it would be the same because you're just they're just sort of averaging out
Well, yeah.
across your
So
entire
so
body.
yeah. It's just you're experiencing portions of it in many different directions, right? So I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't
That
know
is a really good
how
question.
that
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
So
I don't
you
either.
stumped me.
Another good question. Another good listener question
Yeah.
we can ask again.
Hmm.
My guess would be that it would not affect you because you're still experiencing the same amount of gravity overall. The entirety of the mass of the earth is affecting you.
No, it really has to do with where you are in a gravitational field because so what I always try to do when I'm thinking of these like sort of types of thought experiments is you have to take them to extremes in order to wrap your hand around it.
Okay. Right.
And so the extreme that I'm thinking of is you could say the same thing about the entire universe, Mora. Everywhere you are, you are technically experiencing the gravitational forces of everything else in the universe, just uh,
Yeah.
at varying distances, right? So so if you think about it the way that you just described it as being in the center of the earth, you're just experiencing it in different directions, then that would mean that no point in the universe was any different than any other point because you're just experiencing it at different directions. You know, like
No, 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 no. That's not what I mean.
okay.
Because we know for sure if you're on the surface of the earth, I think on the surface of the earth versus the center of the earth
Yeah.
wouldn't be a difference because of what I said. But on you'd still have that difference if you flew above the earth because
Right.
then you're changing your relationship with the mass. Whereas if you're on the surface of the earth, your relationship to the mass of the earth is the same as if you're in the middle of the earth, right?
I just think it's I just don't think it is the same. I can't really
Okay.
explain why I don't think it's the same.
Fair, fair.
I just don't think it's the same.
Yeah.
My gut tells me it's different. That's all.
Okay. Well, I trust your physics gut.
Yeah.
But we'll have to look into it. And no
Yeah.
need to apologize, September. She said I'd apologize, but it's things I hear on your show that make me think of questions like that. Well, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, those are the listener questions that I've managed to cover this time around. We still have a few more left, and I I kind of feel bad saying this, but if you have a question, you can ask us and we might answer it faster than within 1 year.
Yeah. It seems to be that we're making more of a concerted effort.
We sometimes let them collect and then do a concerted effort to wrap them all up.
Yeah.
So but if you how about this? If you add in a question now, I'm going to make sure I keep up with this run of
Yeah.
question
Let's do
answering
it.
and I'll get to it sooner than 1 year. one
Yeah.
year's time.
So all you got to do is go into Discord. We've got a whole channel set up for questions for the show, or you can email us at contact@allaroundscience.com and send us your question that way.
Mm-hmm. All right, done. Questions answered. We did it.
That was fantastic.
That was fantastic, and thank you, chat. I like when we can put out a show where chat's going back and forth with us.
Yeah.
Um,
That's the whole
sometimes
point.
it makes sense, sometimes it
That's
doesn't.
why we like to do it this way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sweat update.
Sweat o'clock. It's sweat o'clock.
It's not as bad as I thought it would be. I'll say that. But it is only May.
That's right. You've got a whole summer. You've got a whole summer to look forward to.
Part of what I was hoping would happen when I reorganized my office is it wouldn't be as hot in here, because one of the things that had happened with the way my office was organized before, part of the air conditioning vent was covered by one of the desks, and so but the real
No
issue
such
is
luck.
issue is that there's a bunch of computers in here and the door is closed while I'm doing this, and the thermostat is not in my office, so the rest of the house feels great, just not in here.
Ah, yes.
And I have a window unit because this office does get warm because of its location and because I have multiple computers in here, but I'm not going to run that while I'm recording. So.
Yeah, like it's loud.
It's very loud. Yeah. Is your AC out? No, it's just not. I just explained it. I was about to explain it again, but.
I want to acknowledge Lydia's joke.
Oh yeah.
Said it would take 42 minutes to fall from one end of the earth to the other through the middle, and she said even with traffic. It's very funny. It was good. It was a good joke. That went through pretty quickly, but I just wanted everyone to acknowledge that. Lydia,
Yeah.
you're funny. That's good. Do you have anything interesting for our outro?
I don't know if I do. Let me think.
What do we got here? I have one.
Okay.
So Bobby, it's not Hit Me Baby One More Time. What is the song that gives you the nostalgic feels?
Oh, good question. I don't know. There's a couple of songs by the Wallflowers, if you're familiar with the Wallflowers, that are very nostalgic for me. Like One Headlight, of course, and Three Marlenas is a good one. But I don't know. I can't pull that out off the top of my head. Usually I don't get. I have a particular feeling in my body when I feel nostalgia from music, but it's never like a teary kind of feeling.
Okay.
But I will get emotional just from nostalgia. But I do find that in the past I don't know, decade or so, I very easily cry at movies and TV shows now. I get very easily emotional from watching anything that is about, you know, friends being friends, and things about like kids and parents, and I think it happened when I got a child. And I don't know what it is because I didn't like go through a hormone change, of course.
Well, maybe you did.
Well, maybe, but
men do go through hormone changes when they have children.
Well, I didn't know that, but so perhaps that's part of it. I always assumed it was just me- mentally, psychologically, when I had my first child, I always assumed it just something clicked in my head that just decided to give me permission to be an emotional person. Like,
Hmm.
you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, I'm not a male person who has to ignore my emotions because that's what men do. Um, I'm now a father with a baby, and I'm a stay-at-home dad, and I have to, I'm already sort of like going against the social
Mm.
norms, and I
Right.
don't know. I just assumed that something clicked and said, you know what, just be a person. It's okay. you know.
um, I I do think there may be some patriarchal norms there that you were able to push past because
Yeah.
you are men are permitted to have more emotions about their children than just about anything else
Yeah.
in that you know in that unfortunate setup
Yeah.
where you're not allowed to have feels.
Yeah. And that's when it started, and that's when I started noticing getting more emotional at
Mhm.
television and
Mhm.
movies is at that time, and it was specifically um when there would be something emotional happening that had to do with like I don't know, like a parent being separated from a child, or a child being
Yeah.
scared
Yeah.
or hurt or
Mhm.
lost, or something, cuz I would just imagine, you can't help but imagine you and your child being in that same situation. So
Mhm. Mhm.
that's when it started. And then it was just like, well, I'm just going to cry at everything now, and I just cry at everything now. So, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Feel your feelings.
Yeah,
You're allowed.
exactly. What about you?
Well,
Music first.
I'm not a terribly nostalgic person.
No.
I don't know that there's any songs that really get me. Um, although there is an exception to that, and this is going to sound strange, but I've always felt a very deep connection to hymns,
Yeah.
and I still sing them sometimes to
Mhm.
myself.
Yeah.
It's almost comforting,
Yeah.
and if I hear choral music,
Mhm.
that always gives me a sense of connection and I think a little bit of nostalgia as well. I
Yeah.
used to
That
sing in the
makes sense
choir
to
at
me.
church and
I was raised Catholic, and so I just mean religious, and I'm not now, but whenever I hear like Christmas music, like church
hmm,
Christmas music,
hmm,
like those are my favorite Christmas songs, and I like listening and
yes.
singing them, listening to and singing them, and I think it's absolutely just like a comforting nostalgia from childhood, like, oh, this is what Christmas feels like, and stuff,
Yeah, a lot of those tunes also are very old folk tunes.
Mhm.
So I wonder if it's the kind of thing where that song has stuck around for a long time for a reason.
Yeah.
Because it has, like, it connects with us on a deeper level, like those specific tunes that really have been around for hundreds, maybe 1,000 years, maybe
Yeah.
longer, and so I sometimes wonder if that is part of why I feel so connected to them.
Maybe,
Um,
traces of the melodies are found, in everywhere, and so it just connects with us in that way because we're surrounded by it without realizing it.
yeah, I think that that's part of it too, and I wonder if there's some kind of brain chemistry that we just connect with this certain order of notes for a certain reason. I would
Yeah,
love
maybe.
to speak to an ethnomusicologist about that,
Yeah, I would.
which is a sentence I've never said before.
That is, it's a person I'd never knew existed until just now.
Just now. There you go.
Yeah.
Ethnomusicology.
But, well, that's going to have to wait until another episode, because that's going to be it for this episode of All Around Science. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you've got questions or feedback, you can email us at contact@allaroundscience.com.
We're on socials at All Around Sci or All Around Science.
My name's Bobby,
I'm Maura.
and we'll see you next week for some more science stuff. I almost just read all of your parts. Like I just kept
Yeah,
just kept going.
I heard you kind of trip up.
I'm just gonna reuse the line. A new marshmallow test just dropped.
It's a good one.
Holy cow. Is that the fastest we've ever written our teasers for the episode?
Wow, we're doing great. Ready?
I am ready.
On today's episode,
A new marshmallow test just dropped.
and we answer more listener questions.
All that and more today on All Around Science.
Amazing. Oh, this is a there's a heartwarming chat going on in chat
Oh, good.
about feelings. Sounds like you're a great dad. That's what September said to you, Bobby.
Aw, thanks. I do feel weird when I talk about how men are not, like historically anyway. It's changing, but historically have not been allowed to feel feelings, right? I feel weird talking about that because I feel weird anytime that I try to imply that men are somehow what do you call it? Like what's the word I'm looking for? Men are in any way treated poorly.
Oh, right, oppressed. No,
Yes,
but
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what? I think the problem is not men. The problem is the patriarchy. That has many definitions, but
Yeah.
for at risk of being misunderstood, the patriarchal norms that are misogynistic have created a space that does not allow men to live full lives.
Yeah.
And they are oppressed by it in some ways. They benefit from it a lot more than they lose, but they do lose some things. And one of those is all the full range of feelings. I mean, even that, like, if you try to suppress any one feeling, you suppress them all.
Right.
They're all gone. You
Right.
can't pick and choose.
That's a good
Except
point.
maybe anger. I guess you can just sometimes let anger out. That's the one emotion men are allowed.
Yeah.
And excitement when your team wins, I suppose. But like that's about it. Like there's not like what else is okay? Being
Yeah.
sad? No. Anxious? Never. You got to be in control.
Yeah.
It's just this falsehood that is not fair to men.
You know what I think about a lot, and
Generally.
this conversation makes me think about another conversation you and I had. I don't know if we ever had this on air ever or recorded or anywhere or anything, but I think about this a lot. You said to me one time that we had a conversation about how that there's a severe lack of vocabulary surrounding how we describe friendships.
Yeah.
And I think about that a lot ever since you said that to me.
Really?
Because I think you're right. There are so many people. Because I have, and what made me think about it just now is I think about it a lot in the context of not just friendships in general, but also the male friends that I have. I often want to tell those people that I love them, and it's hard to say that, because
awkward.
because we're not allowed. And like I said, that exists also with the female friends that I have, because for a different reason. Like it's hard for me to
Mhm, mhm.
like like there's other stigmas surrounding me telling another woman who's not my wife that I love them, right? My wife or my mother or my sister.
Yeah, yeah, you've got a limited
Yeah.
limited range there.
But I do often feel that way, right? So about different people, and I think you're right. It's because that word means something very specific, but we need like another word
Mhm,
for that kind of strong feeling that we have
mhm.
about friends that we have, you know.
I think too, one problem this always annoys me is, in a lot of fictional scenarios,
Hmm.
um, there is no male female friends
Yeah.
very frequently, and if there's ever a hint of any true affection, love that is like a friendly love, it is always a precursor to romantic love,
Hmm.
and I think we just can't get out of that spiral, so I always get super annoyed by that, um, and very excited when it doesn't happen, like,
Yes, I enjoy
when
that. Yeah.
I love that. Like, what's the most the big example for me is Black Widow and Captain America. How they like
Yeah.
they have a little bit of sexual tension here and there, but it's not like over the top. And they clearly like each other and they trust each other, and they're that's that. Like, there's no like will they, won't they. It's just sort of like yeah. And I know a bunch of people ship them, but I find for me, if there's a man and a woman who start out as friends and they stay friends, I'm way happier about that than if they get together uh most of the time.
Yeah, but do you always feel like you're always worried that it's gonna take a turn?
Oh
The
yeah.
narrative,
Oh
you're
yeah.
like it's always kind
And
of
don't like
hiding
yeah.
behind there, that feeling like is this gonna turn into something else?
This time. Don't get me wrong, I like a good romance
Sure.
too.
Yeah.
I enjoy that plot, but like I just I just want that permission to exist.
Right.
I want that permission to exist because I have no I guess because in my life I have no interest in forming new romantic attachments with anybody.
Yeah.
So I don't want to cut off half the whole population that I can just never be friends with now. Like there's sort of that mental model that you
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
be friends with someone
There's a
unless
friend.
anyway.
There's a friend that I have, a female friend who was at the school, and she like was a parent of one of Zoe's friends, my daughter. And we talked about that all the time. That we were pretty good friends, and we were always wondering like is that what are people like? We're hanging out a lot at the school. What are people thinking? You know, like,
Mhm. Mhm.
and it annoyed us, you know, because we're they're like, why can't we just be friends?
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Let's just yeah, you know, you're a mature adult who will understand what lines you can and can't cross
Right.
because you have a fully formed prefrontal cortex
Right.
and will use that to your advantage.
Exactly.
But anyway, I'm getting into a rant, so I will.
Logan mentioned that the ancient Greeks had 4 different words for love. I looked it up and they did. They have I won't say what the words are because that's not going to elicit any feelings for us, but they had 4 different concepts of love and different words for them. Love between family, love between friends, love between a couple, and love of God.
Mm,
And so they were different words, so those were different ideas for them, right?
I love that. I
Yeah.
really do. Okay,
Yeah.
what about loving concepts? Do you love a concept?
Yeah.
I just said that.
There's a fifth
I
one.
love that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, there's so many ways to say it. Yes, I agree. More vocabulary surrounding the incredible variety of relationships that humans form.
Yeah.
I would love that. Keep looking for it. 4 words for love in Greek. I did know that actually because that was a frequent Sunday school fact that we were told
What was the fact that there were four
that there are
words?
4 words for love. and the love of God, agape. I actually know what it
Oh yeah, I'm
is
looking at it right now. That's it.
yeah, is the one that is in the Greek translation of the Bible,
Mm.
and that was the one we were to strive toward.
Now we have emojis. September 6th. Yeah.
Yes, emojis do encapsulate things a little
You know
differently.
what? I have to.
Like that.
You made me think of something with emojis. I decided just the other day. I think I'm done with the the sticking out tongue emoji. I can't with that one anymore. Like I used to use it a lot because it
I
was
did
like
too,
it was
actually.
I was like, "Oh, this is the, one I use when I'm joking." But too many, like every different phone or you know like iOS versus, Windows, like they've got a different way, and some of them look really weird and creepy. Um, and so I can't with the sticking out tongue emoji anymore.
Okay, well, thank you for giving us that notice.
Yeah.
We will avoid using it. I don't use it much anymore either. I've switched into overusing the closed eyes smiley one.
Yeah. Yep,
I use
that's a
it too
good one.
much.
That's a good one.
It is a good one, but I'm always like, I feel like it just gives the tone, makes the tone, I don't know, nicer.
Mhm.
So I'm always like, hey.
Yeah. I'm a fan of emojis. I think they have enhanced our communication ability.
Everyone's doing the sticking out tongue emoji now in chat, so.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't like disgust me. You're not
Right,
so
right,
you're trolling me as failing because it's just
Troll that out.
I can't use it anymore because I over and every time I use it I'm like, is that was that creepy? um, but uh but yeah, I like the I've started using the cry laugh emoji instead of LOL. So I think that means
I do like the cry laugh emoji. That's very millennial of us. Only
yeah.
old people use that one.
Yeah. Now they use the skull and crossbones for
Skull,
laughing.
yeah, the skull is the one that would be the equivalent of the cry laugh
Yeah.
for us old people. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't use it though because I feel like that I'm just trying to be young, which is the oldest possible thing that I can do.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep my cry laugh
Yeah.
and accept my inevitable
The
death.
only time I try to be young is when I'm trying to embarrass my 12-year-old. So
Perfect. That's the only time that it's appropriate.
yeah,
And in fact it is more than appropriate. It is called for.
encouraged.
Encouraged. Okay, well I got to go.
Yep. Me too. It's
And
11
I'm sure
o'clock
you do
here.
too. So, yeah. Well, you have a excellent night everyone in chat. Thank you for the robust discussion. We went some
Yeah.
interesting places today. We
Yeah.
didn't even get to comment on all of it. So, thank you.
The chat room was great tonight. You were in tip top form. So all right. But we'll see you around. Bye bye. Stream is almost. It is